If you remember, we introduced the concept of NAT territories yesterday in the SeeRRI way. So NAT stands for Network of Associated Territories. And the NAT members are non-partner in SeeRRI project, but they have some similarities to the three SeeRRI pilot region regarding regional development policy, smart specialization strategy. So NAT members have participated in SeeRRI key discussion and provide input to improve the SeeRRI concept. And now today they are here with us to join with all the participants here in this dynamic interactive session. And the objective of this session are threefold. We want to engage you, the participant, into applying what you have been learning after 2 days, intensive 2 days, to solve the challenge. So this is a nice way to crowdsourcing idea from you to let you apply the knowledge and lesson learned. And when you move to group discussion, we hope that the interactive and the dynamic experience will give you more creativity to solve the challenge. And the second objective, we want to contribute to help the NAT member to attract creative ideas from the participant to solve their regional challenges. And after that, we will help them to consolidate ideas from the session to select what would be useful for them to apply in the future. And last but not least, we want to showcase the engagement expertise from the SeeRRI project, which is conducted by the AIT team, Austrian Institute of Technology. This is how we can show everyone the co-creation experience and its complexity. The AIT team will illustrate the skill of moderating such co-creation experiment. And in this session, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the AIT team, not only because you generously agreed to organize this session, Mariana, Petra, and Andrea, but also for all the hard work you did during the SeeRRI project, from traveling to all the region to organize workshops with stakeholders, Mariana and Andrea, and for brainstorming and discussing with us all the output of the SeeRRI project, for example, the implementation pathway, the subway station you see yesterday, and also SeeRRI booklet. So kudos to you, Andrea. And so the structure of this session is follow. First, we will invite each NAT member, Ostroponia from Finland, Serbia, Montenegro, to present your territorial challenge and the question you want the audience to help you answer. So each of the NAT members will have 5 minutes to do so. First the challenge and then the question. And after that, we all divided into 3 groups. Each group will focus on one territory only. And I know that on the first day, many of you asked why you have different colors in your name tag. And now you will know the reason. So based on the color of your name tag, you'll be divided into groups. And we have the flags, some members, at the end, if you see of the room, they already have the flag. So after you hear the challenge, you look at your color on your name tag and follow the color of the flag to the room where you will help the NAT members solve their challenge. And that group session will be 30 minutes. And after all of us will come here for the plenary session so you can hear some exciting ideas. The result come out from the group discussion. So I will invite the NAT members come in here, 3 people who will present their challenge, maybe one by one first. And after that, I will invite Marianne to explain the group exercise. So first, let me see from the slide, who will go first? Ostroponia, right? So Jekka, are you ready to present your challenge? Please come here. On the microphone so that we can hear you. Yeah, please come in here. Yeah. And I will count 5 minutes and I will let you know if it's time up. So.
Can you, okay. Yes, this is, I'm coming from the region of Ostrobotnia, and that's on the western parts of Finland. It's a small region, it's an outward-oriented region that we are exporting a lot of energy technology, which makes that we are in a very lucky situation. We have the so-called Vaasa Energy Cluster, and we count on that 70% and even more is going to gross of the gross production is going to exports. So in this way, we are very fortunate to have this cluster in renewable energy. There are big companies like Wärtsilä, ABB, Danfoss, and so on, that they are global players. And what is happening now, of course, is that we see the Green Deal, we see the European or like development in other parts, also in the US, in China, a lot of money is being invested. And that creates, of course, a huge demand, which is a very huge opportunity, but it also creates a huge competition that may be a threat. And this is a very fortunate development. We have people who have been in these companies reflecting quite a lot, and we can draw on their findings and on their thinkings. But on the other hand, we are also having a downstream effects of small-scale companies. And these companies don't have the capacity to renew. And we see with digitalization and with global sourcing that it may increasingly be so that the value chain moves abroad. And we have to fight that in some way. We see also the small companies could be companies that are maybe having 5 to 10 employees. They are fighting to survive for the next 6 months. They don't have time to think about this and how to think on the opportunities. And then we of course see the functioning of the triple helix that should start to support these companies in a much more and better way. But many times the public sector and so on, they are focused on the money, and the money is going to support the weaker industries. They don't have the vision or the perspective of the global players or the sort of spectacles on the opportunities, and is maybe not doing a quality of development work of high quality enough in relations maybe to other players in the world. Maybe say you can have a Chinese player, a competitor who can have the full support of the local innovation system in a way that we can also only see a partial support and discussions being on. And of course, then we are coming to the question that how can we engage these small companies to have more of that perspective, and how can we support the developers, regional developers, to step up the ambition in the development work, and not only seeing the results or gaining projects and doing projects, but fully engaging. So that is my question. Can you phrase the question? So the question is, what are the requirements on the SME support structures when accessing the green transition on smaller companies, where we have small-time profits, and we should have a more long-term necessity and also see the more long-term perspective. I mean, we have, if you will engage for the green transition, you have to see the long-time opportunities. But maybe the development organizations are more seeing the short-term threats. And then the challenge lies in how can you change sort of that mindset to more draw on the findings, on the perspectives of the large companies, but work with the small companies, and having not only part of the regional change, but all of it, to avoid a dual development as a consequence of the green transition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jatke. You keep the time perfectly. Okay. And next, I would like to invite the Serbian team, so we can change the slide. Yeah, one of you can sit or stand.
Yeah, I'll stand. No, dođi. Sad pa ću I'll go quick. So thank you, everyone. We have a Serbian team here. I first of all want to congratulate everyone who was involved in this SeeRRI project, and our smart coordinator who managed to facilitate all the discussions and can serve a project itself as a very good example or a role model for co-creation. So we come from Serbia. My name is Aleksandra Drecun, and I'm the head of the action tank, which looks beyond Serbia and further to the region of Western Balkans. And we are very lucky to have with us today Mr. Viktor Nedović, Dr. Nedović, who was the state secretary when Serbia got its smart specialization strategy in 2020. And now he is also leading the World Bank project because we borrowed 80 million euros and got additional 40 million euros from the European Commission to implement the strategy, and we also then adopted the action plan this year, and with him also a very modest person who is behind the driving force, Tijana Knežević, who was also within the ministry and now works on the implementation in that SAGE project that we are now working on. So here you see a bit of Serbia. Who was in Serbia? Can you just raise your hand so that I know? Not many people. So we need to work much more. Okay, there you go, a few. So we come from a lovely country that is on the dividing line between the Eastern and the Western Roman Empire, the country that is not known but actually gave 18 Roman emperors, the country where we have the oldest human settlement in Europe, but unfortunately, we are remembered for some more exotic things that we somehow want to give the proper place in our history, but that we also want to overturn. One of the facts that is really bothering us is that Serbia has much larger scientific diaspora than scientific community in its country. We actually have suffered from more than 10 years of international sanctions, which included research sanctions. And I use this opportunity also to pledge the idea of not imposing research sanctions to any country, because if you want to ruin democracy, innovation capacity, if you want really to close the country for goods, you impose research sanctions. We held sanctions, all kinds of sanctions. But what made it really an issue for us, and that we are still struggling with the consequences, is that a lot of people who were able to leave left. And on top of that brain drain syndrome that is bothering all of us, we now face the fact that we really need to work hard also on building trust in our community and sharing with our industrial partners in Serbia and in the region the information on how strong the scientific community itself is. So Viktor can tell you more. We'll just go shortly and we'll have the time to discuss. So our EDP process, which was well done with JRC, we served also as a role model at that time, has shown that we need to work a lot on linking better our economic environment, meaning even public administration and entities, but especially our business sector with research. And it's one of our biggest challenges. And Viktor can tell you more because he led also that EDP process, and one of the great measures that they introduced, you can join me here, is that we actually need to have a continuous EDP process and that we need to fine-tune our smart specialization strategy as we go because we are priorities overloaded. And with this, I leave it to Viktor to tell you a bit more on the measures that we envisaged and also on the challenge that we face, and we would very much like to invite you to share with us your experiences in overcoming those difficulties.
Thank you very much, Aleksandra, for this very nice introduction of the strategy itself and some of the challenges we still have. I suppose I have just a very short period of time too. It is our strategy adopted last year by the government of Republic of Serbia, and it is the action plan of the strategy adopted because of the pandemic in April this year. In this document, in the action plan, we have 43 measures to be implemented in these 2 years, this one and the next one. As we still do not have approach to European funds that supports normally and usually member states in the implementation of the strategies, we provided from our national budget 150 million euros for the implementation of the strategy in 2 years. This is one of the major challenges. Can I go one? Yeah, it is the question. We would like to create a kind of environment for the legal change to introduce the industrial doctorate program. We would like to share different experience in that respect with all of you, and also to propose to us some of the measures you did in your particular cases. In addition to that, what we would like still to discuss with you that is not presented at the slide is also the specific tool you developed in your cases in some very well developed parts of the Europe for monitoring and evaluation of the strategy, how you manage it. Do you develop actually particular software for that, or you use some of the usual ones that are already developed, and also how our EDP is the part of the action plan, one of the measures of the action plan. What is your experience in the revision of the strategy through the continuous EDP process in your cases? It is some of the questions I would like to add to this one for the further discussion. Thank you very much. Just to mention that we adopted last year, but Vojvodina region, Vojvodina province, the part of Serbia, actually adopted even in 2014, and it was the first part outside of member states that did smart specialization strategy even that year. But we are now all together. This is national one. It was the regional one. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And the copy of the strategy, I just have one hard copy here with me. It's for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, I put some words here.
I saw it. Thank you. So thank you, the Serbian team, for presenting the challenge. And last but not least, I would like to invite the Montenegro team to present. And yes, you can save the seat for the Montenegro team. And so can you help me change the slide to Montenegro? Thank you. So I will signal you when 5 minutes done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, where is the signal?
I'll just stand here and show you.
Okay. Hello, I'm Nina Radulovic from Montenegro. Together with me are my two colleagues, Professor Jovan Mirkovic and Nikša Bulatovic. They present PROMA. It's a foundation, Montenegrin Science Promotion Foundation, that works for more than 10 years in the field of promotion of science and innovation, while this time I'm an independent consultant that was the chief expert in drafting Montenegrin Smart Specialization Strategy, which is, by the way, adopted in 2019 as a first non-EU national SeeRRI strategy. So we are rather proud of that achievement, and you can easily find it on the net by going on the host location SeeRRI.me. Please, I would like to present our challenge that has also derived from the results of EDP process and from the smart specialization process, which we have came through that process is the fact that Montenegro is unfortunately a small country that is mostly import dependent, and it's mostly relying on the tourism and services. Pandemic during the last year and a half has showed the strong dependency of Montenegrin economy on the tourism, so we had significant drop down of the national GDP that has further shown up that we really need to restructure our economy, to restructure our business sector, and to go forward for some production sector to offer new competitive products other than just the tourism and services. On the other hand, we have academia, which is rather strong in the field of publications, but it's purely business-oriented, and we need to reconnect two sectors and to make them work together. But the key issue is here how to attract capital towards these new sectors, towards connected academia and business sector that should work together on innovative entrepreneurship. As I guess, as we have heard during the previous presentations of our colleagues, even yesterday, that is the huge problem even on the European level. But what I can say that in Montenegro, maybe it's even more prominent and it's even more necessary to resolve it as such. As a consequence of smart specialization strategy, and of the implementation plan of the strategy, we have established a fund for innovation. It's a state fund for innovation that should invest in innovative entrepreneurship and that should help business sector and SMEs, even socially engaged NGOs that look forward to develop some innovative products or services to finance those activities. But again, it's not only up to the fund, because it has to be sustainable. It's only starting to do business. But the other aspects of this is how to attract, for example, banking sector to invest in innovative entrepreneurship. We don't have something like that. And even more, how to attract private capital from other business branches, because in Montenegro you have like influential companies with significant funds, but they are more willing to invest in some activities that will bring you a quick gain, quick money, and not to go towards something risky, such as innovative entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And yes, now I would like to invite Mariana from AIT to come here to explain us how it will work, how the group work will function. So please help me change the presentation.
Please, Andrea and Petra, will you come to me on the stage, please? Okay, so we have now 60 minutes only to do this work. The core idea, I think, is the three NAT regions takes the opportunity to bring forward their challenges, and the audience of this conference is the basis of an idea crowdsourcing. And we appreciate you very much that you will give us your ideas. How will we do this? We have now 30 minutes group work, and you are divided in 3 groups. And afterwards, we have some minutes to bring your work back. We will work there on flip charts, now on boards. We collect your ideas with moderation cards, Post-its, and so on. And then you present 20 minutes, or approximately each 6 to 7 minutes in the plenary. So, as Nien already said, we have 3 colors. And I would ask Petra. Petra is color blue, is Serbia group. And then we have Ostrobonia. This is green group. This is Andrea. Andrea is green, yeah? And me, I'm a Montenegro group. And I would like to ask one representative of each territory to be with us, one. And the others, please follow their name tag of color. Is this possible? Do you understand what I mean? only one, is your colleague from Montenegro has the same? No, has a different color. So he will be in the Serbia group, and you with me. And you will present the results in the plenary afterwards, okay? And the same for you. Is this okay for you? You, okay. And you will present the results here then. Yeah, okay. So, okay. And first, then NAT representatives, right? Please, can I have your attention? I need your attention, only a few seconds. You will write the question, the core message of the questions on the flip chart there, and then the others, each participant thinks and write down his ideas, her idea on Post-its, of not talking at the beginning. And later on, we collect and cluster, and then we discuss and work out the core messages. Is it clear so far? It's an easy task, but sometimes it's very difficult. Yeah, and we have approximately 20 minutes to cluster this. We do this in this way because 30 minutes is not possible to make changes in the group. So I think that's it. So now Serbia is here on the left side, here in this. And we go downstairs into the garden. There is Ostrobothnia and Montenegro.
Okay, we really had a good time in Montenegrin group session. It was like little kids playing games, really fun. And what was interesting is that first in these group games, you have to form some kind of mutual understanding of the situation, because we all come from different backgrounds and social and cultural ecosystems which are different. Even the mentality, mindset is different, not only the innovation capacities. So we first have to understand between each other very well, and to enter a little bit deeper into deeper layers of the situation, which is really difficult in just 20 minutes. But I hoped that we understood each other properly, and that I really obtained some good advices regarding direction in which Montenegro should go. At first, even though Montenegro is the first country outside Europe that has promulgated SeeRRI strategy, it's not so strong in innovation. It has good centers of excellency and good potential. And the strategy and the whole this process is not about how good you are now, but how good and how far you can get. And the colleagues from the group session have shared their experiences that it cannot be expected in short time. It's a process. It's a long-term process, or better to say, if nicely and well organized, it can be a middle-term process, like 5 or 10 years from now. But let me be more optimistic, because now we live in fast society that develops and moves forward faster than ever before. So maybe exactly thanks to the Montenegrin economy, which is small and open, this international influence can be very beneficial even for the internal use of domestic funds. I've got a some advices regarding some ways that we already use, like attracting European funds, IPA funds, these international funds for innovation. We already use it, but definitely we shall use it more. Montenegro is rather young in the whole process of membership within these international European funds, primarily speaking, but it's getting better and better every day. And I heard a very interesting suggestion from our Norwegian colleagues that are even attracting US capital towards Norway. since Montenegro and their region are rather similar in having these renewable sources of energy, it's a very good basis to attract not only European but even American capital, and to make of it a green energy hub. Actually, it's one of the strong points that we stressed as opportunity in our smart specialization strategy. Why I'm always returning back to the smart specialization strategy, because our S3 is already practically S4, since all the innovation development directions have integrated sustainability and circular economy and responsible research innovation as a must-have requirement. There are other interesting suggestions, primarily relating to that we have to start maybe basically from re-establishing better links between different parts, different subjects, different players within innovative ecosystems, between university and business sector and banks. But the fortunate thing with our banks is that they don't want to invest in innovation at all. Not only that they cherry pick between socially responsible innovation and innovation, they don't invest in innovation, but still some primordial action in order to try to change their mindset could be done, like dissemination of information regarding opportunities and stuff like that. More or less, some standard things. I cannot see from here all the. It's not a good angle. Besides that, I'm short-sighted. I cannot see well with my contact lenses. But more or less, it's like that, so that we can use the things that we already have, start with small steps, gather youngsters, gather community, and slowly develop innovation culture, especially taking care of this responsible aspect of it, and strive for the better future. But as I said, I'm rather optimistic. I really hope so that we will have faster progress in the near future, maybe turning our weaknesses into the strengths. Thank you very much. Thank you all the group participants. And maybe in the plenary session I can hear, we as a Montenegrin team can hear some more useful suggestions from the rest of the participants. Thank you, and I leave the floor to Serbian team. Isn't that so? Thank you.
I'll come there. So big thank you to the SeeRRI consultancy that we just established a few minutes ago. That will have its next session in Belgrade. We greatly contributed from the colleagues and already have an idea of enhancing the cooperation that we somehow established. It was a very interesting and stimulative process, intellectually stimulative also. As you know, we had two questions. One was on concrete measures to bridge the gap within industry and academia and research in particular. And the other was more strategic on how to continuously evolve in defining your priorities in smart specialization. So I'll start with strategic. It was great really to see the ideas on how we can involve social development, territorial approach, sustainability, also national challenges, basically to follow into the footsteps of Horizon Europe, and also NSF, which did it many years ago, to have challenges which can stimulate people and gather together different stakeholders. So at the strategic level, we have some ideas on how we could perhaps focus our education on more concrete challenges and how to reform the curricula. And one was great, really. each of those pieces of advice and suggestions was coupled with a business card of a consultant, future consultant of Serbia, who will help us further improve and make it concrete measures. So in between, we do have some ideas on how we can communicate better. And we also got what we asked for, some concrete examples of different programs in France, in UK, in Italy, in Greece, that are already having success in using those approaches of industrial / research academia programs that keep young people closer to the research itself while allowing them to build their careers and also being a part of the business community, which is a kind of imperative for many people, young people nowadays, not to be just in the ivory tower. So it was really nice. We also have the commitment of the treasurer, Victor here, that he might also organize a workshop and invite people to Belgrade to help us further. So this is the guy to follow, to further develop the ideas, because we really plan to go fast with this. It was really also useful to get some concrete tips on how to involve alumni clubs, to have monthly seminars, to have people come and present their challenges. So some very interesting actions for both research community and industry, and hopefully also policymakers on how we can bring people together. I also want to say a big thank you to Petra Wagner from the Austrian team, who was the head consultant today, and congratulate her on her facilitation for reaching the outcome that we really have reached with the great success on how really to bridge the gap between academia and research in Serbia. And again, I want to extend a warm invitation to all of you to visit our country. So you have on this beautiful drawing made by colleagues here, some of people, I assume, I don't know, one of them is Nikola Tesla, famous Serbian inventor who lived in the US. The other is hopefully Mihailo Pupin. So out of 10 patents in this phone, 8 are Mihailo Pupin's, which we are very proud of. I assume also that you can find Novak Djokovic among them as well, of whom we are very proud. And since Nadal and Novak are good friends, I hope I'm allowed to mention also that name. So thank you all for your ideas. Feel free to come to us with more ideas from those groups that didn't participate in resolving our challenge. And thank you again, Nahian and the whole SeeRRI team for having us as one of the territories. Hopefully we'll become one of the partners in the next program so that we can jointly contribute to the better future for Europe. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you very much for this one. I mean, it was a quick exercise, but it succeeded better than I ever could expected. It was typical that we have these notes, and of course, as always, I mean, the devil is in the details, that you have to elaborate and look on it, but you cannot expect that to find that in a very short time. But typically, when the co-creation process started, it started by activities and very concrete ideas that you would provide. Maybe you should have this incentive and this incentive. And it is not a question about companies, because the companies, they are struggling to survive. They don't have the extra time. They have to be serviced by the support structure. And so we have the incentives for the companies, but usually our experience is that there are, in the small companies, there are very few people capable of this, and they are so busy, so that they agree with what you have to say, but they say, thank you very much for your advice or for your opportunity, but we don't have anybody to send. So it's about the support structure, and then we are coming to the structures. and how they work and how they see themselves. And we have different kinds of concrete advice, but if you look on the roots for this advice, they are very much linked to that. Are the structures committed or not committed to the green transition? How do they organize? Do they define their goal as being relevant for the green transition, or do they define that goal as being relevant for having a project portfolio or a turnover as big as possible? Do they see that they should have a lot of activities and then they're good, or do they see that they should really be relevant to the SME? I see that the question is a similar one as when we look on the research, as we were learning earlier today, that is it important to make a lot of research, or is it important to make a relevant research? That do you need to publish a lot of papers, or do you need to really address the questions? And the same thing is with the support structures, that they seek to maximize that project portfolio. And they also need to do that because they have to maintain the organizations and not sort of keeping the staff on board. And then it comes to the final, and that was on the mindset, of course, that, and then you could maybe, even if the suggestions and the notes that were coming this way, you could maybe analyze it in the opposite way, that it starts with a systemic analysis of the mindset and trying to change the mindset of them, trying to get an understanding of what it is. And then you look into what kind of structures do you have, how do you make them also relevant, how do you make them to work with discoveries, and then you go to the needs of the companies, how they can support the needs of the companies. Because I think that also we can read it from these notes when we analyze them, that it's not a question of giving money to the companies. It's a question of supporting the companies, having a mindset, and this structure should always be thinking on what are we doing and how are we relevant to the green transition. And then of course, I mean, you have these notes, as I see them, there are different kinds of details around this, and I think that for instance, this one is saying government-based training programs for SMEs. Okay, that's the support structure. Should it be central government? Should it be regional government? Should it be very general one, or should it be very specific ones, and so on? I mean, these are all things that we can think on and analyze more. But I mean, you cannot do such an analysis in a quick and dirty way. It takes more time, of course. But anyway, I think we started from here and we came to the roots. But when you are working with setting up, you should start maybe with the mindset and the roots, and then go to the actions. So I think it was a very successful exercise. I mean, you cannot do something in a very short time in this, but still it's a way that you could build. So thank you very much for this.